The wind finally stopped howling just before dawn, leaving behind a heavy, bruised silence. The air was thick with the smell of broken branches, damp earth, and the lingering chill of the typhoon. It had been one of the worst storms of the season, the kind that tears through the landscape without mercy, leaving a trail of destruction in the dark. I was walking the perimeter of the rescue shelter, checking for damage, my rubber boots sinking deep into the cold, churning mud. The sky was still a sullen, unforgiving gray, offering no warmth. And then, I heard it. It was not a meow. It was barely a whisper, a raspy, desperate plea that seemed to be swallowed instantly by the vast, wet morning. I stopped, holding my breath, straining to hear over the steady dripping of rainwater from the leaves. There it was again, so incredibly faint. I followed the sound, my eyes scanning the wreckage of fallen debris on the ground. But the sound was not coming from the mud. I looked up. There, near the very top of a towering, impossibly smooth coconut tree, was a tiny, trembling speck of orange. It was a kitten. She was so small she looked like a trick of the light, clinging to the slick, wet bark with everything she had left. She could not have been more than 3 months old. Her fur, which should have been soft and fluffy, was entirely plastered to her fragile bones by the freezing rain of the long night. I ran to get the longest aluminum ladder we had. Every second felt like an eternity. The cold was setting in, and a kitten that small, exposed to a night of freezing wind and rain, was rapidly running out of time. I pushed the ladder against the trunk, praying it would hold its grip on the slippery, soaked bark. As I climbed, the ground dropped away, and the biting morning wind whipped across my face. When I finally got close enough, my heart shattered. She was an orange tabby, but her tiny chest and her 4 little paws were pure white, now stained with dark, wet mud. She was flattened against the tree, completely frozen in terror. Her huge, pale green eyes were wide open, dilated with fear, staring at me as if I were another storm about to break over her. She did not hiss. She did not try to swipe at me. She was simply too exhausted. She had fought the wind all night, and she had absolutely nothing left to give. "It is okay, little one," I whispered, keeping my voice as steady and soft as I could. "I have got you." I reached out my hand slowly, deliberately. She flinched, pressing herself even harder into the rough bark, closing her eyes tightly, bracing for the worst. My gloved fingers brushed against her soaked, freezing back. She was trembling so violently it sent vibrations right through my arm. Slowly, I slid my fingers under her soft, white chest, gently prying her tiny claws away from the wood. She let out one last, heartbreaking whimper as I pulled her to my chest, tucking her inside my jacket. She felt like a block of ice. I climbed down as fast as I safely could, my boots slipping on the muddy rungs. The moment my feet hit the solid earth, I ran. Inside the rescue truck, I had a heavy, dry fleece towel waiting. I pulled her from my jacket and wrapped her tightly, creating a tiny, warm cocoon. I turned the truck's heater on full blast. For a long time, she just lay there on the passenger seat, staring blankly ahead. Her bright pink nose was pale from the biting cold. I sat beside her, gently rubbing the outside of the towel to stimulate her blood flow. Slowly, the violent shivering began to subside. She rested her little chin on the edge of the towel, her pale green eyes blinking slowly, heavily. In that moment, surrounded by the quiet hum of the engine and the rushing warmth of the heater, she finally let go. She knew she was safe. The real journey, however, began back at the shelter. Surviving the storm was only the first battle. When we arrived, she was still incredibly weak. We prepared a shallow basin of warm water in the quietest room we had. When I lowered her in, she did not fight. The warm water began to wash away the mud, the grime, and the terrifying memory of the night before. I watched the dark water run off her, revealing the vibrant, beautiful colors underneath. Her darker orange stripes became distinct, and those little white socks on her paws finally shone through the dirt. We wrapped her in a fresh, heated towel and used a quiet dryer to carefully fluff her fur. For the first time, she looked like a kitten again, not a broken casualty of the storm. I decided to name her Jade, for those vivid, unforgettable, pale green eyes that had stared into my soul on that tree. But healing a rescued animal takes so much more than a warm bath. Jade was deeply traumatized. For the first 2 days, she huddled in the darkest corner of her recovery enclosure. We offered her warm kitten milk and soft, strong-smelling food, but she would only stare at it, her tiny body tense, waiting for the other shoe to drop. She had learned the hard way that the world was unpredictable and deeply cruel. I spent hours just sitting on the floor next to her enclosure, reading a book, speaking to her in a low, soothing voice. I needed her to get used to my presence, to understand that human hands could be gentle, that not everything in life was a storm meant to hurt her. The breakthrough happened on the evening of the third day. The room was quiet, bathed in soft, artificial light. I had brought in a fresh bowl of warm chicken broth. I slid it into her space, and instead of backing away, I laid my hand flat on the floor nearby and stayed completely still. Jade looked at the bowl, then at my hand. Slowly, agonizingly slowly, she crept forward. Her belly was low to the ground. She took a tiny lap of the broth, then another. She stopped, looked at my hand again, and took one step closer. She stretched her neck and sniffed my fingers. Her little pink nose was cold, but her breath was warm against my skin. Then, without any warning, she pushed her cheek against my knuckles. And then, I heard it. A low, rumbling sound. It started deep in her chest, a vibrating purr that filled the quiet room. It was the most beautiful sound in the world. It was the sound of forgiveness. It was the sound of trust. From that moment on, Jade completely transformed. It was as if a switch had been flipped inside her tiny heart. The frightened, shivering creature from the top of the coconut tree vanished, replaced by a radiant, deeply affectionate soul. Over the next few weeks, she gained weight. Her orange and white fur grew thick, glossy, and incredibly soft. Her white chest puffed out with quiet confidence, and her pale green eyes sparkled with a bright, mischievous curiosity. She discovered toys. A simple crumpled piece of paper became a magnificent prey to be hunted across the linoleum floor. A stray piece of yarn was a monster to be bravely defeated. She would chase her own tail until she fell over dizzily, then look up at me and let out a tiny, high-pitched chirp. She followed me everywhere around the shelter, her little white paws padding softly behind me, a tiny orange shadow that brought light and laughter into every room she entered. But as much as I loved her, as much as she had become a part of my daily life, a rescue shelter is a waypoint, not a destination. Our ultimate promise to animals like Jade is that we will find them the home they truly deserve. A forever home, where they will never have to know fear, hunger, or the biting cold ever again.